In a move that sent shockwaves through the global economy, President Trump announced a 25% tariff on all imported cars and car parts. This decision, driven by his America First agenda, targeted key allies like Germany, Japan, and South Korea. The tariffs, according to the Trump administration, were meant to protect American jobs and boost domestic car manufacturing. However, the move was met with immediate backlash and raised fears of a global trade war. Germany, home to automotive giants like Volkswagen, BMW, and Daimler, emerged as a vocal critic of the tariffs. The German economy, heavily reliant on automobile exports, viewed the tariffs as a direct attack. Chancellor Angela Merkel denounced the tariffs as protectionist and harmful to both the German and global economies. She vowed to defend German interests and urged a unified European response to the crisis. Germany's strong stance underscored the high stakes involved. The automotive industry is a cornerstone of the German economy, employing millions of workers and contributing significantly to the country's GDP. The tariffs threatened to disrupt this vital sector, leading to job losses, factory closures, and economic instability. The international community rallied behind Germany, condemning the tariffs as a dangerous escalation of trade tensions. France, Canada, and China, all major trading partners of the United States, voiced their disapproval. They argued that the tariffs violated international trade rules and would harm the global economy. The widespread condemnation highlighted the growing unease with President Trump's protectionist policies. Critics argued that the tariffs would ultimately harm American consumers who would face higher prices for cars. They also warned that the tariffs could backfire, leading to retaliatory measures from other countries and triggering a global trade war. The economic fallout from the tariffs was predicted to be significant and far-reaching. Experts from various fields gathered to analyze the potential impacts, and their findings were alarming. Economists warned of a ripple effect that would impact businesses and consumers worldwide. The interconnected nature of the global economy meant that no country would be immune to the consequences. One of the most immediate consequences was expected to be a spike in car prices. This was not just a minor increase. The tariffs could lead to substantial price hikes that would affect affordability for many consumers. The tariffs would make imported cars more expensive, forcing consumers to pay more for both new and used vehicles. This price increase could deter potential buyers, leading to a slowdown in the automotive market. This in turn could lead to a decline in car sales, impacting car manufacturers, dealerships, and parts suppliers. The entire automotive industry could face significant challenges, from reduced revenue to potential layoffs. Beyond the automotive industry, the tariffs threaten to disrupt global supply chains. These supply chains are the backbone of modern manufacturing, and any disruption could have cascading effects. Car manufacturers rely on a complex network of suppliers around the world. Each part of a vehicle often comes from different countries, making the industry particularly vulnerable to trade disruptions. The tariffs would increase the cost of imported parts, forcing manufacturers to either absorb the costs or pass them on to consumers. This could lead to higher prices for cars and other goods, affecting consumer spending. This disruption could lead to production delays, shortages, and higher prices for a wide range of goods. The broader economic impact could be severe, affecting not just the automotive sector, but also other industries reliant on global trade. Section 5. German auto hubs in the crosshairs. The tariff sent shockwaves through German cities like Wolfsburg, home to Volkswagen's headquarters, and Stuttgart, the birthplace of Mercedes-Benz. These cities, with their economies deeply intertwined with the automotive industry, faced an uncertain future. The tariffs threatened to upend their way of life, potentially leading to job losses, factory closures, and economic hardship. Workers in these cities, many of whom had spent their entire lives in the automotive industry, watched the developments with growing anxiety. The tariffs represented a direct threat to their livelihoods and their communities. Unions and worker advocacy groups called on the German government to take action, urging them to protect jobs and defend the interests of German workers. Section 6. Porsche, a luxury brand under fire. Even luxury car manufacturers like Porsche, known for their high-performance sports cars and SUVs, were not immune to the tariffs. Porsche, a symbol of German engineering and craftsmanship, faced significant challenges as a result of the new trade barriers. The United States is one of Porsche's largest markets, and the tariffs threatened to disrupt the company's sales and profitability. The tariffs presented Porsche with a difficult dilemma. The company could choose to absorb the increased costs, which would impact its profit margins, or it could pass on the costs to consumers, potentially leading to a decline in sales. Porsche, like other German automakers, found itself caught in the crossfire of a trade war that threatened its bottom line and its future. Section 7. The EU prepares to counterpunch. The European Union, in a show of solidarity with Germany, vowed to retaliate against the US tariffs. This move was seen as a significant step in the ongoing trade tensions between the two economic giants. The EU, which represents 27 member states, prepared to impose tariffs on a range of American goods, including agricultural products. These products are vital to the US economy and include items such as soybeans, corn, and wheat. Additionally, the EU targeted iconic American products like motorcycles and bourbon. Harley-Davidson motorcycles and Kentucky bourbon are not just products, they are symbols of American culture and industry. The EU's Trade Commissioner, Cecilia Malmström, argued that the US tariffs were illegal, and that the EU was left with no choice but to defend its interests. She emphasized that the EU's actions were measured and in accordance with international trade laws. The EU's decision to retaliate raised the stakes in the trade dispute. It was a clear message to the US that the EU would not back down and was prepared to protect its economic interests. It signaled that the EU was willing to engage in a tit-for-tat tariff war with the United States, a scenario that could have devastating consequences for the global economy. The potential for a full-blown trade war loomed large, with both sides standing firm in their positions. The financial markets reacted swiftly to the escalating tensions. Stock markets showed a decline, and traders were visibly stressed, anticipating the economic fallout from the trade war. The EU's move also highlighted the growing rift between the United States and its traditional allies. This rift had been widening since President Trump took office, with his administration's America First policies often clashing with the multilateral approach favored by the EU. As President Trump continued to push for policies that he believed would benefit the US, the EU found itself increasingly at odds with its longtime ally. The future of US-EU relations hung in the balance, with both sides needing to find a way to navigate the complex and often contentious trade landscape. Section 8. The uncertain road ahead for German automakers. The US tariffs cast a long shadow over the future of the German automotive industry. These tariffs, aimed at protecting American jobs and industries, have created a ripple effect that is felt across the Atlantic. German car makers, already grappling with the challenges of technological disruption, increased competition from China, and stricter environmental regulations, now find themselves in an even more precarious position. The shift towards electric vehicles and autonomous driving technologies requires significant investment and innovation, now faced a new and unpredictable threat. The uncertainty surrounding the tariffs has led to a sense of unease among factory workers and executives alike. The tariffs added another layer of complexity to an already challenging business environment. Companies must now navigate not only the technological and regulatory landscape, but also the geopolitical tensions that influence trade policies. German automakers were forced to reassess their strategies, holding numerous meetings and discussions to find viable solutions. The need for a robust and adaptable strategy has never been more critical, exploring ways to mitigate the impact of the tariffs. This includes looking into alternative supply chains, cost-cutting measures, and innovative technologies to stay competitive. Some companies considered shifting production to the United States or other markets to avoid the tariffs, a move that could potentially save costs, but also comes with its own set of challenges. While others focused on increasing sales in other regions, diversifying their market reach is seen as a strategic move to buffer against the uncertainties of the US market. The long-term impact of the tariffs on the German automotive industry remained uncertain, with many analysts predicting a period of adjustment and transformation. But one thing was clear: the industry was facing a period of significant change and upheaval. The resilience and adaptability of German automakers will be tested as they navigate this uncertain road ahead. Section 9. Averting a global trade war. The escalating trade tensions between the United States and its trading partners raised fears of a global trade war. a scenario that could have devastating consequences for the global economy. A trade war, characterized by tit-for-tat tariffs and other protectionist measures, could disrupt global supply chains, increase prices for consumers, and dampen economic growth worldwide. The situation underscored the importance of international cooperation and dialogue in resolving trade disputes. Experts urged world leaders to engage in constructive negotiations to find a solution that would benefit all parties. The alternative, a full-blown trade war, was a bleak prospect that could plunge the global economy into recession and undermine the rules-based trading system that had underpinned decades of economic growth and prosperity.